I told Juliet. By the time we arrived at Rockford on the mainland, we were depressed, tired and thirsty. Since we had a few hours to wait for the evening coach to La Rochelle, we proceeded to the main square to find refreshments. Café de l'Or was open and not crowded. We found seats and ordered beers. There were newspapers available. Juliet picked up a copy of Le Charivari, and I a copy of Le Cycle. Just then a square-bodied woman passed in front of the window, distracting me from the front page. She had a child with her, a little girl of 8 or 9. As they walked by, the woman tripped and went sprawling. The child stood frozen for a moment, as if astonished her mother was capable of falling. Then her face etched with grave concern. The little girl knelt down and gently offered her mamma her hand. I drew the moment in my mind, a scene to pull up when I was writing, an image to file away for future use. I wanted to remember the worry on the child's face, and the love on the mother's as she let her girl help her up. Then with my usual foreboding, I readdressed the news. Politicians are fools, and the games they play are fools' games. There are lives at stake, and yet these men solve nothing with their endless posturing, except to fatten their own wallets. Power corrupts morals and turns men to monsters all. Not surprisingly, the newspaper was filled with worrisome articles about all this and more. Spain was in crisis. There were rumblings of yet more conflict in Paris. And then my own name swam before my eyes. I was not unused to seeing items about my politics or my poetry in the papers, but this was different. Terrible words leapt out and assaulted me. Suddenly I could not breathe. Sweat poured down my face. This was not possible. I could not be reading the words correctly. "What is it, Victor?" I looked up but could not focus on Juliet's face. "Something horrible," I said, and pushed the paper toward her. The words I just read ran through my mind, repeating as they would for hours, days, months, and years to come. A yacht has capsized. On board was Monsieur Charles Vacquery's wife, Leopoldine, the daughter of Victor Hugo. The corpse of Monsieur Pierre Vacquery was recovered. It was first assumed that Monsieur Charles Vacquery, who is an experienced swimmer, had been washed downstream in the attempt to save his wife and relatives. The net dredged up the lifeless body of the unfortunate young woman. In the newspaper, I discovered what my wife, Adele, who was at home in Le Havre, had known for days, what my sons and other daughter already knew. My eldest daughter, my dearest Didine, had drowned along with her husband of only 8 months in the Seine at Villequier. For the next few hours, Juliet and I wandered through the town, waiting for the coach to be ready that would take us back to Paris. Juliet told me later how the sun beat down on us, and how we walked around the square and into the countryside to try to escape the heat, and the prying eyes of townspeople who had heard the news, and recognizing me, followed the progress of our sad stroll. But I don't remember any of that. I could only see images of the terrible accident. I pictured the boat sailing down the river, wind whipping the waves into a frothy frenzy, the boat keeling, dipping, rocking, then capsizing, the ferocious current swirling around the bodies. My darling's face surprised by the watery chaos, struggling to swim in the churning current, her dress billowing out around her, her arms reaching for help. Desperate for air, she must have swallowed mouthfuls of that muddy river. I imagined her face underwater, her skin losing color, her graceful hands flailing, fish swimming into and becoming tangled in her beautiful hair.